The Pirate Queen, A Forgotten Legend, is a narrative-driven adventure that's suitable for all ages by a new indie studio. Now this game focuses on its immersive narrative experience. There's some puzzle solving in there, as well as some platforming, climbing based challenges. It's really a story that's aimed at gaming newcomers and history buffs. So it boasts a historically accurate storyline that's brought to life by the voice talent of Lucy Liu.
So, Junbosai, first, tell me of our own men and women. Where do we stand?
So as the player, you embody Cheng Shih. This is one of history's most formidable pirates. Cheng Shih is brought to life by the voice talent of Lucy Liu under the creative direction of Eloise Singer. This game has won notable awards, including the Tribeca Storyscapes Award and Rain Dance Discovery Awards. It really focuses on exploration, puzzle solving and strategy, and not so much combat. In fact, I would say there is no combat in this game. It's mainly about puzzle solving as well as some platforming and climbing based challenges. The story of the Pirate Queen, Cheng Shih, is set in the Qing dynasty's South China Sea. As Cheng Shih, you'll get to experience her rise to power during one crucial night where you help her seize control of the pirate fleet. So this title marks the beginning of an ambitious franchise by Singer Studios, promising future expansions into things like graphic novels, TV series and even films. As I say, this game is more about narrative, immersion, exploration and puzzle solving rather than action. There are some action focused parts where you might be walking along rotten planks that are about to give way, or avoiding swinging obstacles, maybe climbing a net and avoiding detection. And some of these I found quite enjoyable, particularly this scene where you had to avoid the patrol boats, avoid getting spotted. But for me, where this was at was with the puzzles. I think I enjoyed the puzzles more than anything. This game is by a small indie studio and it does show those limitations are there. Like for example, you'll see other characters as silhouettes in windows rather than seeing actual animated 3D rendered people, which is a clever way of getting around some of the limitations that they undoubtedly experienced with being such a small studio. These limitations show in other areas too. For example, some of the visuals could do with a bit of improvement. There are a lot of other restrictions, like controlling this kayak type boat is very linear, doesn't allow you to explore beyond this set path. Or this fishing task here, which simply involves winding a winch up and down, when it could have been so much more than that.
Still only small fry.
And whilst the game starts off being very much puzzle focused, later on it does get a lot more action oriented, and then at the end it goes back to this puzzle solving style. And I have to say, I think the strongest part of this game is the puzzle solving, and I wish they did focus on that part more so than the action, because for me the action was a bit of a mixed experience, and that might be because the studio is quite a small indie studio. And so for me, I think you've got to stick to your strengths, and the strengths here were the storytelling and the puzzle solving. And I think they've gone down a route of trying to have a mix of both action and puzzles. And the issue here is the game is quite short. It's about 3 hours long, give or take, depending on how long it takes you to solve some of these puzzles. And with such a short game, you're trying to pack in so much and satisfy as many people as possible, and you run the risk of satisfying no one. I think you've got to have a real strong focus on one particular element. Put your best foot forward and focus on your strongest element, which I think is puzzles in this case. So I wish it had a bit more puzzle solving than it does, and maybe pull back on the action a bit more. The puzzle solving generally was quite good. I enjoyed exploring the puzzle rooms. They were quite beautifully rendered and nice to explore. The puzzles mostly ranged from easy to medium difficulty. This game, even on its most challenging setting, I would say is quite a casual game, and there is a bell you can ring to get extra hints. But I got through the game fairly easily. Even on the action sequences, if you make a wrong move, it will spawn you right back to the beginning of that particular action sequence. So it's very forgiving if you do make a mistake. There was only one cryptic puzzle at the end that really got me, and I had to ring my hints bell to figure that one out. Otherwise, like I say, puzzles are about that easy to medium difficulty. What this game really stands out for me is the voice talent. Lucy Liu, she does a fantastic job at bringing Cheng Shih to life. The audio, the soundtrack, I think it's fantastic. It really sets the mood, sets the atmosphere, and is one of the more immersive components of this game.
The true thorn in our side.
Lucy's story is also super interesting, following Cheng Shih and her rise to power. She was a remarkable leader, and coming from such a low position in society to becoming the leader of thousands of ships and pirates. It's really quite a story, and is testament to her military and leadership genius. One thing about the story, however, it does paint her in a very rosy light. I knew nothing of Cheng Shih before I played this game, but I did look it up afterwards, and in the game she's portrayed as a very noble, heroic and compassionate figure, although there was a brutal side to her in real life. For example, she had plenty of different punishments and was quite brutal, punishments including flogging, clamping of irons, hung, drawn and quartered, chopping people's ears off. And that's fair enough, you don't become the leader of a pirate fleet by using harsh language as a punishment, but I guess that I get this sense that there's this drive to make her appear in a very positive light, when in reality, like most historical figures, she was probably a more complex character with a mix of both good and bad qualities. And perhaps you could argue that the game is from her perspective, so she's liable to see herself in a more positive light, except the game does stand by its historical accuracy. I would have loved to learn more about the history beyond what the game offers me. It would have been great to see a separate unlockable menu item, for example, where as you complete each chapter you get treated to a more objective, detailed, deeper dive into the history behind Cheng Shih's reign. Perhaps something even read by Lucy Liu would have been fantastic. Instead, I found I had to Google it afterwards to find out more about her and the history. The only other thing to mention here, something that I've touched on before, is the length of the game, which I would say is a maximum of 3 hours. You might even get to do it in 2 hours if you are quick enough with the puzzles. There's some collectibles hidden throughout the game, and they give it some extra padding, although there's nothing much else to coax you back to play again beyond those collectibles. Overall, I had an okay time with this one. It was a mixed experience. I think this would land better for VR newcomers, casual gamers, or those interested in this particular area of history. For me, it had its strengths in the voice talent and audio, decent puzzling and engaging story, but the subpart action, on-rails exploration, short length and lack of replayability would make this one I wouldn't personally pick up for myself. Thank you to Singer Studios for the free review key, and thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you have liked the video, remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed already, you might also consider subscribing. So that's it for this review, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comment section below if this is one you'll pick up for yourself. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.
Bye. They spotted us.